I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Yeah. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Good morning.
As is yours. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Fort Worth, where your soul is indeed welcome here. It's so good to see everybody out here in the audience, and also to know there are folks out on the internet watching, perhaps from all over the world. So we welcome everyone here. And now I invite you to rise as you are able as we sing our first song.
I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm going deep to feel the infinite. I'm going deep to know the divine. I'm going deep to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm rising up to feel the infinite. I'm rising up to know the divine. I'm rising up to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul.
Gotta tag it.
Yeah, I'm
That's the best way to
safe.
do it.
Thank you.
All right, this is that great time we get to say hello to one another. So say hello to someone you know. Say hello to someone you don't know. Make a new friend. Say hello to those people watching at home from the cameras. We are glad they are here with us as well.
bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. For I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against all hope. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. Think I finally learned, so bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. For I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through grieving, I'm through dreaming that the life I had is ever coming back. No more wishing on someone else's star that'll never be mine. I think it's time to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. For I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. Well, I've survived many times before. Broken heart, slam the door. Well, I'll be alright, yes I will, once more. But just as I did back then, I'm gonna rise again. So bring it on. Everything new, everything different, yeah, everything true. For I am ready for my next thing to do. Lord, I know it's gonna be everything new. So bring it on. Everything new, yeah, everything different, everything true. For I am ready for my next thing to do. Lord, I know it's gonna be everything new. I know it's gonna be everything new.
Good morning. So if you haven't already guessed, today is Daniel Nahmod Sunday, which means that every single song will be sung by our music team in honor of Daniel Nahmod. So thank you, music team, for making this happen. It was a personal preference of mine. I love Daniel Nahmod. Among the new thought artists, I think he's just a real gem. And so I'm looking forward to hearing more of those beautiful songs. So let us take a moment in prayer. As we always do in Unity, we first and foremost relax into our human self by taking a deep breath, settling into the who and what we are, allowing the spirit to come forth as our body relaxes. We move into this moment, this very moment of the here and now, to understand the truth of spirit, the truth of the expression of God that we are, the truth of the Christ that is indwelling and expressing in every moment of our lives. And with that knowledge, that wisdom, that power, and the grace that we express, we move into this world. Today for this worship, but much more than that. After, as we commune, as we get together as a community, as we learn from each other, as we open ourselves up to the grace and the Spirit that we all are. Together we hone in right now into the true power, not separate from us, not far and distant from us, but very close, very personal. We recognize our ability to be perfect, to be the perfect expression of the divine, to allow perfect healing and health and wholeness to happen in every moment, and to transcend any limitation, any judgment, into one of openness and curiosity. With that power in mind, we reach out to those who are yet left behind, to those who feel separate and are afraid, to those who suffer, and we end their suffering by simply being the shining light that we know we already are, and show them by our example who they are in truth. And so it is. Amen.
Let's affirm our first two principles together. There is only one presence and one power in our lives and in the universe: God, goodness, omnipotence. We are God, expressing such inherent goodness. And for our mission statement, we teach and live universal truth, unconditional love, and abundant life.
Today's absolute word is generosity. The affirmation is, as I give, I apply the principle of generosity. Let's say this together. As I give, I apply the principle of generosity. The limitless resources of infinite spirit are divine ideas, aka principles. I use them with a loving heart and clear mind. Emily Cady said, in Lessons in Truth, there is already provided a lavish abundance of divine ideas for every human want. I always have all that I need to live abundantly, and I share my abundance with others with joyfully and freely. I give generously of my resources, talents, skill, and time. I joyously support those I care about. I am generous with praise, gratitude, and encouragement. I give without thought of reciprocation. I center and synchronize my humanity with my divinity. I am grateful and trust divine ideas are always available to me for unlimited and unfailing use when I put a demand on them. Today's scripture verse is from Proverbs chapter 11, verse 25. A generous person will be enriched, and one who gives water will get water. The affirmation again, as I give, I apply the principle of generosity. Together, as I give, I apply the principle of generosity.
Our beautiful flowers today are from Georgia Phillips as a memorial to special memories. Now, each Sunday in July, we are collecting non-perishable items like canned food, boxed cereal, and personal care items to support families in need this summer. For a list of suggested items, visit unityfortworth.org/food-drive. And our second Sunday potluck will be held after service today. Please join us in the fellowship hall for some good food and some good fellowship. Also, we will have our Spirit Circle in the Peace Chapel at 12:30 after the service, where you get to ask Reverend Jean-Marie any question about today's service and beyond. Don't hesitate to deepen the conversation. Also at 12:30 after service, Our fundraising committee will have a quick meeting to strategize our next opportunities. Please join us in the Blue Room as we put the fun into fundraising. And speaking of committees, we are revitalizing our church home committee and seeking more congregants who resonate with our mission to join us in imagining the future of our community and how we envision our church home. Let us know if you're interested in joining this important committee by scanning the QR code on your screen or go to unityfortworth.org/committees. We are seeking to learn from many different points of view. Thank you. And then next Saturday, our garden team will be in the Peace Garden from 8 to 10 to trim, weed, and otherwise maintain our beautiful garden. And our community engagement team will be working in our administration building from 9 to 11 to sort through some items for our youth and family ministry department and to clean out the building for potential sale or lease. And now, Jean-Marie will introduce to you our latest member joining our community.
All right, yeah, very exciting. We do have one more member joining us today. And before we do that, I just wanted to remind everyone that our membership class is entirely online. So, and those of you who just join us online because you're not living in Fort Worth or choose to stay home, you're also able to become members. All you need to do is go to unityfortworth.org/membership and learn about the path to become a member at Unity Fort Worth. It's really not that hard. It's a class you take that's all online. It's narrated. It explains a little bit some of the teachings and the beliefs and the theologies that we have. And then you need to do a little bit of a test, but it's not hard. And then you get to talk with me for a few minutes on one-on-one. And that's really it. And exactly this process has gone through our latest member, Sarah Whithouse. And please welcome Sarah as our newest member. And I'm going to ask Sarah to come here in the middle. Sarah has already, you've probably seen Sarah in many different capacities already, serving as a volunteer. And she's not first new to Unity, right? Sarah has grown up in Unity and has returned to us a few months ago. So let's get some juju in our hands. And then we have a slide coming up. Hopefully. There you go. And let's hold our hands up and give Sarah all our loving energy as we say together, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Welcome, Sarah. Welcome to our fold. You can go here. And that is all for the announcements for today. Let's have some more Daniel Nahmod performed by our wonderful music team.
There's the kind of life when every choice she makes a safe one, predictable. With every moment's like the last one, everything even slightly, barely, scarcely is locked away. It's the kind of life where your engine's never gunning, sitting tight. No, your heart is hardly running. Nobody could be messing with your schedule for your usual day. Then there's the kind of life where your pot of gold may never come, where your dream's so big it's never done, where your work feels less of work than fun. Tell you what I want, that one, that one. I want that one, that one. Yeah, give me the kind of life where wrong is sometimes right and black is sometimes white as well. I want that one, that one. Oh yeah, that one, that one. I will fall and I'll succeed. I'll laugh and I will bleed. Every day's a mystery and time will always tell. Look at me, going a million different directions. Messy me, Call it perfect imperfection. Don't bother asking me where I'm headed, 'cause I really don't know. No, crazy me. Today I want to become a rock star. Then again, it would be cool to drive a NASCAR. Tomorrow I might decide to wrestle crocodiles for Nat Geo. No, you don't need to say that my pot of gold may never come. I know my dream's so big it's never done. But if my life can be never-ending fun, I'll tell you what I want. That one, I want that one, yeah. Give me the kind of life where wrong is sometimes right and black is sometimes white as well. I want that one, oh yeah, that one. I will fail and I'll succeed, life and I will bleed. Every day's a mystery and time will always tell. Keep your to-do list to yourself. I'm doing what comes naturally. I don't want to live like no one else. I gotta be true to be. Always be true to me. Yeah, that one. I want that one. Oh, give me the kind of life where I'm kind of flying blind and black is sometimes white as well. I want that one, not some boring, ordinary flawed one. I will fail and I'll succeed. I'll laugh and I will bleed. Every day's a mystery. Yeah, that's the life for me. Yeah, that's the life for me. Yeah, that one.
All right. Isn't that an awesome song? So a little while ago, a rich man was once asked how he got so rich. He said, well, a few years ago, I started buying an apple at the farmer's market, and, right from the tree, unwashed and everything, and went home, I washed it, and then I went back, for $1. I bought the apple for $1 and went home, washed it, and then I went back and sold it for $2 as a washed apple. And then next time I bought 2 apples, went home, washed it, for $2 and went back and got $4. And he said, oh, that's how you got so rich? He said, no, 2 years later my grandmother died and she left me a legacy of $10 million. And then I could stop all this nonsense. So we often think of legacy as something that we leave behind in terms of riches, isn't it? When you think of legacy or leaving someone's legacy, it's often connected to something material, a house, some riches, an account, some money, and so on. But what about the spiritual legacy? What about the legacy that we can leave behind that doesn't cost anything, but actually enriches the people that are left behind much more so? And what about the legacy that we can leave behind right now? The legacy that we already are and the legacy that we are giving to each other in every moment. What about that? So today I wanted to talk about that a little bit. But before I go right into it, I want to tell another little story. A son whose father decided to retire, who came from a long line of clowns. And he told his son, son, I want you to take on our family's legacy. And the son responded, Dad, I'm not sure if I can fill those big shoes. Oh God, I heard, right? Please God. So we're leaving our spiritual legacy already, right here and right now. And if there is one thing that I would like for you to take home today, it probably will be that something like, don't procrastinate your legacy. Don't wait for you to leave this plane at least for a little while, so that your family and your friends can enjoy your legacy. Don't wait until you have what you believe you need in order to make your family proud so that you are ready to go. Don't wait for anything, but learn to see how legacy is who and what you already are. Every moment that you are and that you choose to express yourself, especially if you learn to express yourself purely and kindly, just as we learn from so many great teachers, just as Jesus Christ or the Buddha or many other teachers that we may follow, that is really our opportunity here. So often when we start out, we think of a legacy bound to future. We think of legacy as something that needs to happen in the future. And isn't it interesting that when we look at traditional spiritual, Christian, or even Hindu or other religion upbringings, everything that seems to be so wonderful to achieve is often pushed into the future rather than being encouraged to realize right now. In Christianity, we're taught that if we are good, then in the future sometime, we might end up in heaven. In Hinduism and Buddhism, we're told that we are in this endless cycle of birth and rebirth called samsara, and eventually when we are evolved enough, then sometime in the future, we may be able to escape samsara into moksha or nirvana. But what about right now? What about taking the opportunity to right now? Because who cares how big our house is once we leave? Who cares how many cars we own or have driven in our lives once we are no longer here to encourage and inspire others to be themselves? Who cares how much money is in the bank for someone else to enjoy if we have an opportunity to use everything at our disposal right now and make it valuable to the people that need it right now? I'm not asking you to go home and close all your bank accounts and throw your money out, or preferably give it all to our church, right? So that's what often pastors say, give it all to us, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about realizing and finding a balance between what makes sense, right? Having a good retirement, maybe have something left behind, yes, or maybe have just the possessions that we need to be happy, but not hold on to it for some legacy that we believe we will leave behind sometime in the future. You know, we're currently, as Unity Fort Worth, in a very interesting position. Most of you know, as we have informed you through a few town halls and other communications, is that we are trying to lease the southern side of our property to a tenant or multiple tenants, or maybe even go as far and sell everything. And that can be scary, right? I'm sure that some of us who have been here much longer than I have probably have this spark of sadness and grief already starting to even think about the possibility that eventually we're going to walk out of here for the last time. You may wonder and ask yourself, what's the legacy that we leave behind? And if we are so attached to this building to be our legacy, then yes, that will hurt if it comes to that. If we are so attached to that, the way things used to be in what we call in the church business as the golden years, you know, the 80s and the 90s, where this will be filled 3 times on a Sunday, and everyone will be hunky-dory, and we will have so much money we don't know what to do with it. If we keep holding on to that as a legacy that we like to recreate, all we're doing is we're actually violating one of the very primary principles that we teach. That the joys and the riches of abundance and grace of God can only be and ever will be only here and right now. But granted, it's not easy, right? Granted, it's not easy to look at all these things that we own as a community and imagine what will happen to it if this all disappears. But if we learn to understand that we have a much greater legacy that we already built over the 71 years that now Unity Fort Worth is old, that legacy is the legacy of leaving one important thing and one message behind. And that is that we are not broken. That is that we are not separate from God. And that is that we are powerful beings that are only waiting to express ourselves in the grace and glory of that God expression that we have come and be born with already. That is the gift that we have to give not only to ourselves as the world's biggest secret, right? But to everyone out there. That is the true legacy. And if we can focus on that legacy of what I would call the spiritual legacy that we can leave behind as a community, it does matter much less where we're going to be. How many people are coming in person? How many people stay home safely and be online? How the building is going to look like? How many people we actually make up as a membership? Because even a handful of people can change the world. There's no accident that it says in Scripture, where 2 or 3 are gathered, here I am among them. That's Jesus speaking to his disciples saying, as long as there's 2 or 3 gathered who remember that they have the same powers that I have demonstrated to you in my ministry, then we're all going to leave the important legacy behind that we are truly God's children. And that we have the power and the responsibility to be that. And that should be our legacy. So legacy is about the here and now. Legacy is about spirit more so than about our worldly possessions. The worldly possessions help us to live comfortably, help us to have food on the table, and have shelter, and have friends and family for community. That's the worldly measure that we take and that we strive toward. The spiritual measure, however, is much bigger than that. It's a very altruistic way of thinking about what we are going to leave behind, because it's no longer about us alone. It's about much more than that. One of the reasons why I became a Unity minister, even though I've been wanting to become a minister since I was 16, it took me over 30 years to find the right fit of a denomination, of a religion, of a movement that would allow me to focus on that inspirational thought that we are so much more than we are told we are. I waited for well over 30 years, over 35 years, to find that, almost 40 years. And I cannot imagine as a minister to do anything else. I never want to go back to fire and brimstone. I never want to go back to separate God. And never want to go back to relinquish my power to something out there that is invisible. I want to stay with what we learned, don't you? Isn't that the greatest legacy that we can leave behind? There's this really cool story in the Bible. And it's the story of Job. Job was a righteous man and a very wealthy man. He lived in the land of Uz, or land of Uz. I don't even know how you pronounce it in the United States, but it's U-Z. So you pronounce it the way you feel comfortable. If it came from Switzerland, it would be Uz. And you know, the land of Uz. I think that's kind of cute, isn't it? The land of Uz. Job came from the land of Uz. But he was known as the most righteous person you can think of. God-fearing, God-worshipping, righteous, right? This story is not in the Christian scripture. It's in the Hebrew scriptures. It's an old story. It's a very long story, a very complicated story. Theologically speaking, there's so many teachings that are in this story. It would take me hours and hours and hours just to unpack the basics of it. And I'm only going to start on this story, and it will continue next week, just to remind you of those who don't remember. Job was rich, very wealthy, the wealthiest in the land of Uz, and the most righteous. And as it happens to be, Satan and God had a meeting, and Satan was saying, you know, God, your power only exists because you let all the people that believe in you have all these riches and all these possessions, and that's why they believe in you. If you took away all these possessions from the people, no one would ever believe in you ever again. And God said, no, that's not true. And he said, well, let me show you, let me test you. And God allowed Satan to test God. And they used Job. And God allowed Satan to take everything that Job owned away from him, everything, except for his life. And so Satan went and took everything away, all the houses, all the flock, all the animals, everything was taken away from Job until the only thing left was Job, a little bit of a tent, and in the background, that's his poor wife. All his 10 children were gone. All his servants were gone. Everything that he ever owned was gone. But that was not enough, because Job, even though he was mourning and he was sad about losing all these things, as we can imagine how we would be emotional about walking out of here for the last time, of course he was sad, he was grieving, he was mourning, but he never gave up on God. And Satan wasn't satisfied. He said, no, that's not what we bet on. Job is still quite happy, he's still quite healthy. Look at him, he's still a pretty healthy, God-fearing person. Let's just do something really terrible on Job himself. He said, okay, and God allowed Satan to do that. And Job got all these boils around across his body, and except for taking his life, Satan did everything he could onto Job. And yes, for a moment in chapter 3, you could read how Job started losing it for a little bit. He was kind of starting to argue with God. You know, I've been God-fearing, I've been doing all these good things in my life. Why are you allowing this to happen? And then as the story goes, for many, many, many chapters, and those who ever bothered to read Job, you know how many chapters there are and how long that lamentation is. Job is often translated or considered to be the most patient person in the Bible because he was lamenting for so long. He was challenging God as a righteous person. Now, there is this part in Job that is about the 3 friends. And I'm going to leave it for this week to give you a teaser, because the question that we can ask ourselves, what is the legacy that we want to leave behind, we learn from this story from those three friends. You got to ask yourself, and if you want to read Job for the next week or so, you can go to the chapter. It's 34 chapters long when the friends are giving Job advice. Ever had friends giving you advice and you wish they would stop talking? That's exactly what happens in Job, right? Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a relief for today because we're all about uplift. Job's going to be fine, right? Job's going to be fine. But what's really interesting is that Job is going through this, losing even his faith in God for a little bit, picking it back up, dealing with his friends who can't help but to find all the faults that are possible in him. Ever had that happening in your life? Right? Listening to your friends and they point every single thing out in you that's wrong with you, right? So the resolution then is to understand how to actually approach our grief and our mourning so that we get to learn who and what we truly are and what we are about and what really matters for us truly besides our possessions in life, what to be. But I am going to leave you with this one thing. It's probably one of the most favorite quotes that I've ever heard in my life. And we're just going to listen to another Daniel Nahmod song in a minute, just before meditation, because it ties so beautifully into how we would like to leave this world. And as you listen to the song, I want you to do two things. I want you to do one thing and listen to the lyrics and ask yourself, what if I could leave my legacy, my true legacy of spirit, behind right now? And the other thing I want you to consider is Maya Angelou's quote. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel.
If this is my last song, if this is my final day, if tomorrow I'll be gone, what do I want to say? If this is my last song, if it's my time to go, when my body's moved on, what will I have to show? No, not fortune or fame, they scatter to the wind. The things that make a name just don't matter in the end. Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and sky a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. If these are my last words for all of the earth to hear, if all that I have ever been is about to disappear, if these are my last words, there's nothing that I need to say. I have only tried to serve. It's never been about talking anyway. to feel is that I'm doing what I can. Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and sky a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. Have I given hope to the hopeless? Has a hungry soul been fed? Has a child stood a little bit taller because of something that I said? Have I left a little kindness? Have I eased a little pain? If so, then I'm glad I came. For that, I'm glad I came. This is my last song. If this what I leave behind, what do I pass on? If I am out of time.
So let us take those words into our meditation for today. Whatever may have spoken to you, a kid standing taller, a sky being bluer, humankind being a little wiser. We now move into our meditation together to reveal what we have to give from the purest generosity of our hearts. We may ask ourselves what it is that we have to give. We may even struggle to find what it could be. So let us stand together, remind ourselves of the true nature of our spirit and humanity. Let's remember that all of us, all together, came out of the same source, the same principle, the same beauty, the same glory. And as we are all here today, whether in person or online, we get to express that perfection just as we see fit. So how do we choose to be? We deepen our thoughts and our feelings as we open our minds and hearts. We stand true to who and what we are and learn to let go of what holds us back. Remember that our true legacy is not possessions. It's not things. It's not what we own. Our legacy of spirit to give away is how we make others feel. Our words and actions may matter, and yet what is remembered is our kindness. It is the love and compassion that we bring to this world in every moment. So what are we to leave behind? Not just when we leave this world, but what are we to leave behind today? What are we to leave behind when this service closes? What are we to leave behind when we say goodbye to our friends? Have we smiled once more? Have we demonstrated our happiness once more? And have we made everyone else feel just a little bit better than they already felt? So as we come together, we can see into each other's eyes, in spirit and in this world. We can see that divine consciousness that we call Christ in everyone. We find a moment of gratitude as we open our hearts and embrace each other for the truth that we are. And so we are glad that we came. Let us then give thanks to the many that have come before us. Let us give thanks to those who have built this community into what it is today. Let us give thanks to all those mentors and friends and teachers that we had in our lives to shape us into who and what we are right now. Let us give thanks of the many beautiful teachings that we embrace and follow as it speaks to us. Let us give thanks for the kindness of the people around us. And let us give thanks for ourselves and the courage it sometimes takes to go against the grain so that we can be what we truly are. In that gratitude lies the true power as we move into this world today and every day. And so it is. Amen.
that you are. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are.
If you would like to contribute to what we're doing and what we are all about, you can do so right now as our ushers come around. You may leave your tithe or love offering, or place your hand over the basket to bless our contributions. For those online, we'll post a link for you to make a donation, or you may go to the website to do the same. In whatever way you choose to contribute, we are so grateful, and we bless as we bless our love offerings. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful.
I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. I want to know you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to see you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to hear you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to feel you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to praise you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to love you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. God is right here in my heart.
Where I am is my
God is
God.
right here in my heart.
Right where I am is my
God is right here in my
No
heart.
separation, thank you so much for joining us today. Come on down to the fellowship hall for our potluck and maybe pop into the spirit group for more discussion about today's sermon. And don't forget our community work day next Saturday in the garden and in the admin building. Be well, stay cool, and have a wonderful week. Now, we're not going to do the peace song today. We're going to have one final Daniel Nahmod song.
Y'all get up, though. This one's a fun one.
Water is nice, cools your brow on a summer day. Water is sweet, out of a canyon it'll show the way. Water is life. The world would wither without oceans blue. Water is spring. Take a drink and be born anew. But what I really want is fire. What I really need is fire. What I really want is fire. What I really need is fire. Wind is a kiss. Flustered faces in the autumn air. Wind is a guide. Out of stillness, it'll fill your sail. Wind is a song. A summer storm will whistle all night long. Wind is a cry. Uprooting earth and making up for a strong blood. What I really want is fire. What I really need is fire. What I really want is fire. What I really need is fire. What I really want is fire. What I really need is fire. What I really want is fire. What I really need is fire. There's a time to sit in silence by a mountain stream. There's a time to rise above my daily desires. There's a time when life is more than a private dream. Ooh, it's time for fire. What I really want is fire. What I really want is y'all to sing it with us. What I really want is fire. What I really need is fire. Fire to smolder in my soul. Fire to make me lose control. Fire to burn my last regret. Fire to do what I don't dare yet. Fire to walk without a clue. Fire to tear my past in two. Fire to dive into the deep. Fire to force me from my sleep. Fire to turn these walls to dust. Fire to risk it all for love. Fire to see what no one sees. Fire
go cool off.
I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and